Number one disappears, and you are now in the environment of a previous sacred space that you've been before. Tell me where you are.
Greetings, we welcome you to the community of the 15th dimension. We are here to spread a message for you and also to assist you in your quest and try to answer some of your questions.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Greetings. You say 15th dimension, that is?
Confirmative.
I don't think we've ever had the opportunity or the pleasure to communicate on such a deep level before. How
You
was
were taken here because of the sincerity of the question you are going to get answer for, and we are the one chosen to help you in this task you are taking on.
Oh, very good. Very, very good. 15th dimension. And that 15th dimension, what resides on the 15th dimension? What type of entities or energy is in that type of space?
All types of energy, all types of vibration that is ever going to be and have ever existed are in this dimension. Closest to the source, closest to your energy, and we are all one.
Excellent. Well, we were really interested in questions about what's taking place on the planet Earth these days. Planet Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. Of course, you're familiar.
Yes, and that is a part of the message we wanted to give to you today. We want to
Very
make you aware of there is a very, very big shift going on. Uh, as you say, a few weeks, and it's been going on for about 6 weeks now, and it will still going on for 15 more weeks. That you are going to be beamed with this energy, and it's going on not only on your planet, all your solar system, and all of your neighbor solar system also. And that is taking place because it's time to boost the masses to wake up. It's
so you
very
said
important in this timeline to wake up these entities on your planet that are still lingering in darkness.
and you say well, you actually said a time frame.
Yes, we are aware that you usually want a time frame in linear time. That's why we presented this for you now.
So to repeat what you said, in the next 15 weeks there will be
An increased amount of energy coming into your solar system, and they may cause some disturbance on your planet in form of volcanoes and tectonic movements, but we are there to monitoring it, so it will not be anything sudden. It will be taken care of.
and in terms of the people who may be in these particular areas, are is it in their contract to say, for instance, die if in fact that there is?
they are there of free will in this time, and they are only the entities that are in that places that will be affected, as you will see as a catastrophe, are there of free will, and it's time for them to move on.
So, did they know before they physically manifest on the planet that this would be a part of their experience?
Some of them are very much aware of this, some of them are not, but they are still needing this to happen for their ascension to a higher frequency.
And what about those who are here to, say, the ground crew is what we've been called? Uh, will there be people, will there have to be any help from higher dimensional beings that they
Yes, there is
physically,
going to be help from higher dimensional being to control the uh, exposure and being here to control in what rate is taking place, because the frequency and the energy coming in is so vast. So they have to be able to control what is going on, and they are monitoring this all the time now. And
will they,
you as a light being, a light worker, have the task to spread this message as good as you can now, because it's important for those who's working in this area you're working in, that they are going to be aware of what's going to happen. And if you look backward, it's already happened for some weeks now. And you can see it in that more and more people is waking up from that uh, sleepwalking they have been doing for so many years now.
and say for instance, will there have to be a physical manifestation of the higher dimensionals uh, to actually help people physically move or
They will
transport?
be, but you will not be aware of that. There will be physical manifestation that are going to help in front and afterward.
And so, if we're not aware of it, it will be taking place where probably on the fifth dimension or the higher fourth, or
It's will coming into your dimension where you are lingering now, and take manifestation just to help you to be able to help and guide you in this ascension that is going on now.
but will they be face to face or will it be? I know in one of Dolores Cannon's books, she said that um, they were at one point when there was a cataclysm taking place that they removed the population and they were able to watch from the ships in space as the planet went through a huge transformation and actually over a really a long period of time, and then what seemed like the very next day they were placed back on the earth, but after it had already rejuvenated itself in terms of where the earthquakes and volcanoes had taken place. The plant life and everything had come back, and so I don't know if it was over thousands of years that they were brought back to the planet in what seems like only the very next day for them, or would it be something like that that may possibly happen, or
Not exactly in that way, but many of you are going to have an urge to do some traveling, and you will move out of that area that is going to be affected more than other areas, and you have already this fault in tectonic plates, and you have already places where it's volcanically very active, and the people there are going that are willing to be saved will be saved. Yes.
and in terms of people financially being able to, will it will a way be made for those to be able who have a desire to
The funds
remove
will be
themselves?
able for them. Yes, they
So
are
it'll
they are giving the opportunity to be able to. move away.
or travel and be out of the at the right time and right place.
Exactly.
But when you say 16 weeks, that's 4 months
Yes.
within the year of 2016.
Yes.
What else would you share with us in terms of what you see coming down the pipe, so to speak?
For the moment, that was the thing we wanted to put out there to make you aware what is going to happen, so it will not be a surprise for you light workers, because you are going to play a big role in helping with this also in different areas. Some of you are going to help physically, helping people that need help, and some of you is doing this by putting out the message.
Ah, very good. And so, are there particular places around the planet that are going to be more,
Yes, affected. Yes.
say, for instance, in the United States, there's been lots of tectonic movement and earthquakes in places that there haven't been for years and years, and some places, according to them, they've never had these earthquakes taking place. And of course, it's all close to the Ring of Fire. Do you foresee some of the supervolcanoes being affected in this?
No, it's not going to be allowed now. But you
Very good.
can feel the rate of earthquakes rising, and mostly in the area that are really already affected by them. In your country, you have Alaska, California, and also down in South America. You're going to feel that the rate of earthquake in different level is going to happen, but
Understood.
not in that way that so many will be affected in that.
Understood. Uh, with this huge energy this wave of energy that's bombarding the planet, will it allow some light workers and enlightened people to come into full consciousness, or still just a slow, steady rise in their consciousness?
It will be a boost for the consciousness, just the fact that they are getting the message in a very much different way than they do today. So they are going to raise the consciousness in the awareness of what is going on. Yes.
Oh, very good. These messages, you say this particular message is coming from, you say, the 15th dimension. And
Correct.
are there lots of messages coming from the planet, or coming to the planet from this dimension? And I'm curious, not to say, oh, it's so wow, we get to go so high or whatever, but I'm just curious.
There's a lot of message originating from this place, and are going through down through the dimensions, because you could not get the direct messages into your awareness and mind, because it should be too overwhelming for you. It's so high frequency that your body are not coping with that.
So, but somehow Lars's body is able to handle this frequency.
We have been preparing him for a long, long time now.
Ah, very good.
But he is also vibrating very high, but he is not in our dimension now. He's getting this dimension, this message from this dimension, but he is in the seventh dimension himself, but receiving this from us.
Ah, very good. And when you say us, there as a, would you consider yourself a collective of entities uh, presenting as one, or
We are a collective of entities, energies, but we are also all the same one. It's very hard for you to comprehend that, but we know that some of you understand that fact.
Understood. Earlier, we were told uh, that in 6 weeks, these 6 weeks, and I think we're probably at week 3 or 4 right now, that there was some major energy coming through and having a huge impact. How do you foresee that energy, and how is it impacting? What is the largest impact that it's having on um, the population right now? Are you familiar with?
There are going to be more of a collective awakening now that are starting up different movements on your planet. There are going to be big crowds of people getting together to to work on a different field. There are going to be many of you that are going to be appointed to different field of work on your planet, and you will soon
And
be aware of that.
are we going to be aware consciously, or will it still be more subconscious work that we're doing while we're sleeping?
Now you will be aware of that consciously because we are going to tell you what to do. But the
And are
message
you
can come in the sleep or in the dream, but you will wake up and feel that I have to do this now, and then just go with it.
Oh, very good. I have different people coming in, meeting me of late, and having the desire to meet me and work with me uh, out of the blue. And what is that about?
That is them waking up to another insight, and they resonate with your work. But you
Very good.
will also be aware that you are monitored. So we urge you to use your intuition that will never lie to you, that will always speak the truth to you about people's intention.
Well, I always almost, I mean, because there's so many people coming at me with so many different type of things where, I'm so attracted and we're supposed to work together and they get what they want and then a lot of them just disappear off the face of the earth, never to hear from them again. So, I mean,
Then you sorted them out. It's the energy you're sending out to them to make them disappear, so put it.
very good. And
Because
how,
it's not in the benefits of all to do this work with them, but because they have not the best intention in mind. But you're very much aware of this. We can see that.
we were having this conversation earlier and we were speaking about the messages that are coming through. Right now, are you channeling the information through Lars via the seventh dimension, via the 15th dimension? Is that how this works? Or if you could explain this a little more, please.
We, we took Lars to the seventh dimension because it was not possible to raise higher now, and he has
Understood.
been prepared for this, and he have also got message before that that make him able to receive this message from our dimension down through the dimension where he is now existing as an entity and an energy.
Ah, very good. Very good. And
You can
how,
you can see it like we are having a telephone connection to him in some way. We are talking to him via a frequency that are transparent through the different dimensions.
and in these sessions when that I facilitate, how am I affected by these transmissions?
you are getting a lot of download every time you do this. And for every time you do this, you will raise a little bit higher for every time you're doing this, because you get more and more influence from your surroundings and from your internal being, and your awareness is rising very fast.
Which is where all these questions seem to be coming from.
Exactly.
Am I answering, asking the right questions?
You're doing just great, and there is no wrong questions.
Well, so uh, what am I not asking that you know that I really have a desire to know, and for those who are listening to desire to know, please.
You are very much focused on your own ascension sometimes. You're focused on that because you have a internal curiosity that you have trouble sometimes to take control of. But it's not wrong to ask that question, but you not always get the answer you expected to have, or that you wanted to have. But you're going to have the answer that's appropriate for that time.
I understand that, but and immediately, as soon as I said what I said, I almost heard what you were going to say or hear your response, and I wanted to sort of reiterate that. What I'm asking is, there are questions that I know that I possibly have, and I know that there are others like me on the planet who actually listen to our messages and our questions and answers when we do this. What could you share with me that it's inside my heart to ask, but I'm not exactly sure. And I don't mean just for me personally. I mean for anyone and everyone who's listening to this. I'm always trying to find something a little bit more positive to share with coming from such a high dimension as opposed to, okay, I'll just stop right there.
We can say as this to you, that as soon you get an urge to do something, you resonated with millions of people, but you're not aware of it, and they are not aware of it. But just your attention to do something is resonated through all the universe, and you may have a hard time to understand how that's possible. How can a single little being as me resonate so much? But you are not singular, you are not alone, you are a part of a collective that are all connected, and you are connected to all living energy in the whole of this universe. So your attention, if you are setting your mind to do this kind of session you're doing here, you already resonated with millions of people. And that's why there are so many contacting you now, because they think they just stumble up on you, and they think that it's just a coincidence that they meet you in different media, but it's not. It's your intention to drag them to you, and you have a big role in this, and you are doing that a really good way. So, but you also have an urge to know about yourself, and you are going to give some answer for that. But you, as you don't like us to say to you, is that you have to wait and be patient. It's coming soon. You get this message over and over again, but you are also being affecting very much now these coming weeks in front of you. So your awareness will rise, and you will be aware of that it's rising. You will see many things in a different view from that you are doing
Perspective.
now. Yes.
Very good. We had a desire to know, well, a bunch of things have entered my head while you, and I listened very carefully to what you just said, and I appreciate that what you're sharing. And one of the things before we began, I wrote a few things down. Uh, could you please give us a little bit more history of the beings, the entities, the ones that have been here for a long time and the ones who have volunteered to come and do what we're doing now on the planet Earth? And could you give us a little bit more history as to how we are where we are and from where we've come? And I'll let you do that in any way that you think is appropriate.
The history of your planet that you are aware of, going back several million years, and the history, as many say, that the people came out of Africa, that is not 100% true, because many things took place in other area of the planet. One place that was active very early was the place you now call Australia. There has been going on a lot of transporting of beings in and out of that area by their own will, of course, because you always have that possibility of choosing. And we want to remind you of the history that you have been in a higher frequency before on the planets. You have this you call Atlantis. It's not the correct name, but you can call it that. You can call it whatever you want, but that was a frequency much higher than you're receiving now, that you are vibrating in for the moment. But that ended up in a catastrophe, and they spread out of this planet, and then it was in a lower vibration for a long, long time, and now you are back in that moment that you are able to raise again to the same level of knowledge and insight and vibration that you have before on the planet.
Understood.
You have also interpreted the help you got in a wrong way many times in your history. You have interpreted help like gods. And for you it was gods because of their knowledge was so high, but their intention has been good. And I have helped you before, and the same being is back now, helping you again.
And which beings would you be speaking of, please?
You call them Pleiadians, Orions, and so on, because it's from that area in the universe that they originate from, these beings, and they are here now to help you again. And I have done this so many times before, and now it's never going allowed to going back to a lower vibration ever again on your planet. You cannot go back to the third dimension, to this to this lower frequency again. It will not be possible. That will take place in other areas in the universe, not on the planet Earth.
Understood. And you spoke of Australia, but could you tell us more about? I'll ask about Australia later, but about um, Ireland. I've heard that Ireland has a vast history that has been literally cut off from the planet, and my ancestors come from Ireland.
That's have been going on a lot of contacts with extraterrestrial beings in that area, but that we talk about in Australia is much, much, much older. It's going back tens of millions of years.
So you're saying older than what you were speaking of in terms of Australia?
No, the the oldest history comes out of Australia.
Ah, very good. Okay, understood. Continue, please, if you would, about it.
And where what's going on in the area in Europe, Ireland, what you know call France, what you know call the Netherlands, and so
Yes,
on. There has been a lot of connection to different ETs, extraterrestrial, as you call them, in good and in bad. But that is not possible to take place now. But the history, long back in your history, is not originating from that area.
understood.
Just some knowledge that you are not alone. You're never alone.
And
You
is it accurate? I'm
you
sorry.
you have an urge to isolate you as a singular being, and the